Respected viewers and listeners, today I am going to read part of a chapter, that is chapter 4 of the book Untold Islam. This is the book and I am going to read the chapter 4, which is about Hazrat Muhammad ibn Hanafiyya. Hazrat Muhammad ibn Hanafiyya ibn Ali ibn Abi Talib, also known as Muhammadin, was born in 15th Hijri in Medina and died in 81 Hijri in Medina. Muhammad ibn Hanafiyya was Amirul Mu'mineen's son, but called as Ibn Hanafiyya after his mother. His mother's name was Khola bint Jafar. She was known as Hanafiyya because she was from tribe Banu Hanifa. When people of Yamama were declared apostates for refusing to pay zakat, that is the religious tax, and were killed, and their women folk were brought to Medina as slave girls, this lady also came to Medina with them. When her tribesmen came to know it, they approached Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam and requested him to save her from the blemish of slavery and protect her family honor and prestige. Consequently, Amirul Mu'mineen set her free after purchasing and married her, whereafter Muhammad Hanafiyya was born. Most historians have written his surname as al-Qāsim. As regard his surname, it is said that Prophet had particularized it, and he had told Ali that a son would be born to you after me, and I have given him my name and surname, and after that it is not permissible for anyone in my people to have this name and surname together. Hazrat Abul Qasim Muhammad Hanafiyya loved his name and surname very much because they were a special gift given to him by none other than Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the chief of all the prophets and the leader of all the messenger of Allah. This gift was delivered to him by his father Ali al-Murtuza, the commander of believers and the leader of the pious ones. He would advise people to call him by the name of Muhammad and by surname of Abul Qasim and not by any other title. Muhammad Hanafiyya was a dignified and handsome man. He had a good built, muscular body. He was a man of dignity and solemnity. He had a very charming, charismatic and commanding personality. During the lifetime of his father, Hazrat Ali, Muhammad Hanafiyya spent almost all of his time in his companionship, in home and in mosque, in privacy and in public, in the circle of teaching and in the assembly of preaching, in the congregation of friends and in the crowd of rivals, and in the climate of peace and in the field of war. He was always with his beloved father. Hazrat Muhammad Hanafiyya in wars. Number 1, in Jamal. During the Battle of Jamal, Abul Qasim Muhammad Hanafiyya displayed his astonishing quality of bravery, courage and war genius. Hazrat Ali, looking at his son's military endeavors, expressed his sentiments of joy and pride in the following words: You are my true son. The Battle of Jamal was the first war in which Hazrat Muhammad Hanfiya participated. Hazrat Ali alayhi salam handed him over the war banner and said, "March on my dear son." He marched on and kept pushing forward in an intense fight. Meanwhile, the other side started raining arrows like swift showers of heavy rain. He, in view of war strategy, stopped his advancement for a while and waited for the weakening of the attack. Seeing this, Imam Ali addressed him in a loud voice and asked, "Attack the enemy." Responding to the call of his father, al-Qāsim executed a fatal and sudden attack on the enemy forces that caused them their worst losses. Watching his sons performs the astonishing heroic deeds of bravery, Imam Ali recited the following couplet: "Swing your sword like swordsmanship of your father. You will be acknowledged. There is no excellence in the fire of war if it is not turned to blazing, means frightening, powerful, and impressive." Upon the conclusion of this war, Imam Ali expressed his sentiments of happiness about his brave and devoted son's superior performance in the battle by the following words: Whoever wants to honor me in this world and the hereafter, he should honor my son Muhammad. During the Battle of Jamal, Imam Ali entrusted the war banner to his son al-Qāsim Muhammad Hanfiya. Holding this banner, he attacked the enemy forces repeatedly and caused them fatal sufferings. Watching his spirit and skills, Ammar ibn Yasir, the companion of the Holy Prophet, said, "O al-Qāsim, what a beautiful way you held the banner today." On the occasion of Jamal, al-Qāsim Muhammad Hanfiya demonstrated astonishing strength, bravery, and war skills. He caused the powerful enemy army heavy losses and crushed them by his successive attacks. Looking at the great performance of al-Qāsim, Khuzaimah ibn Sabit, the companion of the Prophet, said to Hazrat Ali alayhi salam, "Listen, if there were anyone other than Muhammad, he would have suffered humiliation." Khuzaimah ibn Sabit al-Ansari paid his tribute to Imam al-Qāsim Muhammad ibn Hanfiya on the day of Jamal in the following words, which has been reported in Sharh Najul Balagha, Abdul Hamid ibn Abil Hadid. Khuzaimah says, "O Muhammad, there is no flaw in your strength on this war day, and you never turned your back during this fierce battle. Your father is Ali, the unique horseman, and the Prophet of Allah named you Muhammad. And you praise be Allah are superior and dominant in language, and you are most generous with what you own. And you praise be Allah are superior and dominant in language, and you are most generous with what you own. And you praise be Allah are superior and dominant in language, and you are most generous with what you own. And from among the Quraysh, you are the nearest to every virtue that they may wish. And from among them, you are the superior in honoring your words. And from among them, you are excellent in attacking the chest of a brave enemy with your spear. And from among them, you are a superior in dressing the heads of opponent fighters with a sharp sword made of Indian steel. Allah has refused to give your enemy any sitting space on earth or any stair and point of ascent in the sky. Number 2, in Siffin. During the Battle of Siffin, when the enemy forces put heavy pressure on the army of Hazrat Ali alayhi salam, he entrusted his son the responsibility to attack the enemy on all its wings. Responding to the order of his father, al-Qāsim Muhammad Hanfiya, like a thunderbolt, attacked the right wing of the enemy, then the left, and then the central wing. The fighting skills coupled with genius and brave leader of al-Qāsim Muhammad Hanfiya alayhi salam overturned the rows of enemy. He inflicted on them mortal blows and did not leave for them any choice but to retreat. When al-Qāsim Muhammad Hanfiya returned, Hazrat Ali alayhi salam was so happy for his son's successful attacks that he got up from his seat, went forth to welcome his brilliant son, kissed his forehead, and paid him tribute for his heroic deeds on the following historic words: "May your father be sacrificed for you. By God, you have delighted me by your this holy war in front of me." This has been reported by Allāmah Majlisi in Biharul Anwar. Once a man said to Hazrat Ali alayhi salam that you always expose Muhammad in places of fighting and always hurl him upon the throats of enemy, but you don't do this with his brothers Imam Hasan and Imam Husayn alayhi salam. Hazrat Ali alayhi salam responded in the following words: "He is my hand, and they are my two eyes, and every man always protects his eyes with his hand." Once someone asked Abdullah ibn Umar ibn Khattab about a serious religious question. He recommended him to go to Imam Abul Qasim Muhammad Hanafiyya and ask him the question, then come back and inform about what he has answered. The man went to Imam Abul Qasim Muhammad Hanafiyya and found the answer to his problem. Then he returned to Abdullah ibn Umar and narrated him the response of Hazrat Muhammad Hanafiyya. Hearing the answer, Abdullah ibn Umar paid his tribute to Imam Abul Qasim Muhammad Hanafiyya in these words: "They are the family that has been blessed by Allah in knowledge and wisdom." This has been reported by Ibn Asakir in Tarikh Madinat Damashq. However, Muhammad ibn Hanafiyya was prominent in rightness and piety, sublime and renunciation and worship, lofty in knowledge and achievements, and heir of his father in bravery. His performance in the battles of Jamal and Siffin had created such impression among the Arabs that even warriors of consequence trembled at his name. Amirul Mu'mineen too was proud of his courage and valor and always placed him forward in encounters. Al-Shaykh al-Bahai has written in al-Kashkul that Ali ibn Abi Talib kept him abreast in the battles and did not allow Imam Hasan and Imam Husayn to go ahead, and used to say, "He is my son," while these two are sons of the Prophet of Allah. When a Kharijite said to Ibn Hanafiyya that Ali thrust him into the flames of war but saved away Husayn and Hasan, he replied that he himself was like the right hand and Hasan and Husayn are like Ali's two eyes, and that Ali protected his eyes with his right hand. But Allāmah al-Mamqani has written in Tanqih al-Maqal that this was not the reply of Muhammad ibn Hanafiyya but of Amirul Mu'mineen himself. When during the battle of Siffin, Muhammad Hanafiyya mentioned this matter to Amirul Mu'mineen in a complaining tone, he replied, "You are my right hand, and whereas they are my eyes, and the hand should protect the eyes." Apparently, it seems that the first Amirul Mu'mineen must have given this reply, and thereafter someone might have mentioned it to Muhammad Hanafiyya, and he must have repeated the same reply, as there could be no more eloquent reply than this one, and its eloquence confirms the view that it was originally the outcome of the eloquent tongue of Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam, and was later appropriated by Hazrat Muhammad Hanafiyya. Consequently, both these views can be held to be correct, and there is no difference between them. When in the battle of Jamal, Amirul Mu'mineen sent Muhammad Hanafiyya to the battlefield, he told him that he should fix himself before the enemy like the mountain of determination and resoluteness, so that the onslaught of the enemy should not be able to displace him, and should charge the enemy with closed teeth, because by pressing teeth over the teeth, tension occurs in the nerves of the skull, as a result of which the stroke of the sword goes amiss. As he said to another place also, press together the teeth, it sends amiss the edge of the sword. Then he says, my child, lend your head to Allah in order that you may be able to achieve eternal life in place of this one, because for a lent article there is the right to get it back. Therefore, you should fight being heedless of your life. Otherwise, also, if your mind clings to the life, you will hesitate to advance towards deathly encounters, and that would tell upon your reputation of bravery. Look, don't let your steps falter, because the enemy is emboldened at the faltering of steps, and faltering steps fastens the feet of the enemy. Keep the last lines of the enemy in your aim, so that the enemy may be overawed with loftiness of your intentions, and you may feel ease in tearing through their lives, and their movement should also not remain concealed from you. Look, do not pay heed to their superiority in number. Look, do not pay heed to their superiority in numbers, otherwise your valor and courage would suffer. This sentence can also mean that one should not wide open the eyes to be dazzled by the shining of weapons, and the enemy may make an attack by taking advantage of the situation. Also, always bear it in mind that victory is from Allah. If Allah helps you, no one can overpower you. Therefore, instead of relying on material means, seek His support and succor. Physical strength of Hazrat Muhammad Hanafiyya. It is said that the Roman emperor sent two Herculean athletes to Muawiyah to measure their strength with the Muslim athletes. One of them was tall and corpulent, fat and well built, and the other was powerful with a strong grip. Muawiyah said to Amr ibn As, we have got a match for the tall man in person of Qais ibn Sa'd ibn Ubadah. But as regards the other man, you should think over as to who can measure his strength with him and defeat him. Amr said, I have two persons in view, but you are inimical towards both of them. One of them is Muhammad ibn Hanafiyya, and the other is Abdullah ibn Zubayr. Muawiyah said, "You should summon him who is nearer to us at present." Amr asked Muhammad ibn Hanfiya to meet the challenge. Muawiyah took his place in the General Assembly, and the dignitaries of the state also attended. The powerful person was the first to enter the field and came face to face with Muhammad Hanafiya. Hazrat Muhammad Hanafiya said to him, "Either you should sit down and let me hold your hand so that I may pull you off from your seat, or I may sit down and you may lift me from my place. Now let me know whether you are going to sit down or I should do so." The Roman said, "You may sit down." Muhammad Hanafiya sat down and the let Roman hold his hand. In spite of his best efforts, however, the Roman could not move Muhammad Hanafiya from his place and acknowledged his weakness. Then Muhammad Hanafiya stood up and the Roman sat down and let Muhammad Hanafiya hold his hand. Hazrat Muhammad Hanafiya immediately lifted him from his place with one jerk, held him in the air, then threw him on the ground. Those present applauded him for his strength, and Muawiyah was too very happy. Now the second Roman champion, who was tall, statured, entered the field to compete. Qais ibn Sa'd, who was present, went in a corner, took off his underwear, and gave it to the Roman to wear. When the Roman put it on, it reached his breast and also trailed along behind his feet. Thereupon he felt ashamed and sat down. The elder amongst the Ansar were very much annoyed on Qais having taken off his underwear in such a formal meeting and rebuked him. However, he composed some verses in which he apologized for his conduct. Dear viewers and listeners, today I am going to close my this book reading because the video will become more longer, and I will read the remaining part of this chapter, inshallah, in another video. In the meantime, in the last but not the least, I will request all of you, those who have subscribed, and all the listeners should like and share this video, and those who have yet not subscribed the video may kindly subscribe the video. Thank you very much. Salamun alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.